Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. Early morning on Tuesday and I'm ready to get the Trophy Tuesdays going so everybody can see what's happening in the Paupers winners metagames in the Pauper leagues. I'm not going to go over the challenge. If you want to hear more about the challenge, check out Casting Commons. They've got a YouTube and a podcast. Either way, they are going over all of the challenge data. Definitely check them out. I just don't have time today. Over here, we're going to go into the leagues. First thing we're going to see here is the actual metagame. We're looking at 30 decks that are mono red, taking up basically 1/4 of the metagame. The next top deck here is a Terror at 8.9%. So, mono red nearly 3 times as many trophies as any other deck. I actually was filling out the league. I was like, oh, it's not too bad. No, that's a lot. That's pretty crazy. Mono red's very strong, and we have a couple of different types of mono red, so you'll be able to see some variations in the lists, which is kind of sweet to see. Next, we've got Is It Terror Blue X Fae, which is essentially just Dimir Fae. There was no other Faes this week. Glitter's Affinity coming down from there, and then in 5th place, Blue White Familiars, which had 9 total 5-0s, and a majority of them on a single day, which is very cool. Following from there, Walls, then dropping off slowly Gardens, Synth seeing Demand Answers, a lot of Dredge, and we've got regular other decks filling that out. Here's the little, here's my chart here. You can see mono red 1/4 of the field. Next up is It Terror? So Glitter's Affinity is no longer the top 2 deck in this week. And we've got Blue X Fae. So you got mono red, red versus blue, just back in the game. I guess that's just how it is going to be. So let's go ahead and get into the specific days. On day 1, on the 13th, we had 20 decks making trophies. I've got a lot of notes here. We had 5 mono red, 2 Glitter's Affinity and Familiars, 2 each of Jeskai Ephemerate and Dimir. Dimir Control, not Dimir Terror. 1 Affinity, 1 Boros Gates from Sculpture down here, which is the, it's labeled Call Gates, but it's essentially Boros or White Weenie plus Bolt and a Gates package. Kind of all over the place, but pretty sweet. We've got an Elves and a Mono Black Control. So the Mono Black Control from True Name Nemesis, who's a French player. It's essentially Golgari Gardens, but instead of playing Avenging Hunter and stuff, he's playing a bunch of campfires, really slow stuff, bunch of removal spells. It's mono black. And then the Elves player, they were on not only Avenging Hunter, which I did not expect, they also are on You Meet in a Tavern. Mono green Elves. So this is definitely spicy. This player had a couple of spicy lists this week. The Affinity player for Grixis Affinity actually decided to not play any Galvanic Blast in their main deck, choosing to play 4 Cast Down instead. And Metallic Rebuke here. Only 1 Thought Cast. And they're going heavy on the Wellspring effects with 4 Wellspring and 1 Mephitic Draught. The Familiars players, we've got Jake Helms, who has been on an absolute tear, over 70% win rate with like 100 matches, playing a pretty classic Seagate Oracle Murmuring Mystic Meeting Minds list. And we have Cranial 95 playing, Cranial 95 playing a Snuff Out list with Esper with the Modern Age. So that was kind of sweet. The Glitter's Affinity players, we've got a Jeskai playing Of One Mind. That's not this one. This is your somewhat stock Jeskai. Find the other one. There you go. So this Jeskai player is playing 4 Ardent Recruit, 3 Auriok Sun Chaser, 2 Vault Scourges, and then they're playing 4 each of One Mind and Thoughtcast with 4 Galvanic Blast, only 3 Springleaf Drums, and 17 lands. So it's somewhat, seems a little greedy, but definitely very powerful if you can make your land drops. And I think that was something that I tried on camera, and the land drops were a big problem for me. Then we've got Mono Red with 5 trophies, and Shatoon putting up a trophy with the Name Sticker Goblin list that I highlighted in a previous video that you can see on my channel. playing 4 demand answers and 2 reckless impulse effects. Definitely a strong deck. Get a couple other people playing demand answers this week. Very solid card. Day 2, 10 decks only, but 5 of them, a full half of the decks on that day were burned, with 2 of them by Luffy, playing the exact same 75. Playing the Sly deck with 2 reckless impulse. I saw Echo Baronin playing that with 2 reckless impulse as well. One other standout was Mikadara playing Cycle Storm. This is a more traditional list that's blue-black, and they're playing the Blood Celebrant in the main. We've got Jihadist Ploy as well, and Knot of the Bone. So they have quite a bit of actual life gain, and they're playing some number of darkness. Plus Snuff Out. So this is the list, kind of seems very similar to the Taya Ruby list. And then, let's see. Go on to the next day. We had a total of 19 decks, 4 of which were burn. We've got 2 Blue X, 2 Dimir Fae, 2 Walls. Apis up here. We've got Ed Elric, also plays a lot of walls. 2 Boros Synth with demand answers, 2 Golgari Dredge, and we're seeing a couple of new cards, I believe. This person's not playing the Rubble Belt. Some people are playing Coffin Purge, which is actually probably a upgrade over the other. Can't think right now. Let's find the other card. Yeah, Rotten Reunion. So Coffin Purge is better than Rotten Reunion, I think, because it's just black to flash it back. I would probably play that in this deck instead. We had 1 Jeskai Ephemerate, 1 more Boros Gates from Sculpture, and Elves, Mono Blue Terror, Turbo Fog showing up. Pretty nice. On the 16th, we saw 4 mono red, only 4 mono red, but a crazy amount of familiars. 5 familiars trophies from Denishev Alexei, GN, me, Rubens Nito, and Van 3. 5. That's crazy. And all these players are in the Familiars Discord if you want to come ask about their lists and stuff. But the one that's pretty cool to check out here is GN42's list actually playing 3 of Deduce, which is the new card that says draw a card and investigate. And he's liking this as a way of holding up counterspells and interaction, and then just popping a Deduce on the opponent's end step. I tried it. I haven't gotten a feel for it yet, but seems like it could be pretty good. I want to go into the Walls list. So this this Dredge list is playing Rubble Belt Maverick and Coffin Purge. Looks like no Exhumes in this list. We had Golgari Dredge, Affinity, Hogate, Dimir Terror, and Dimir Fae rounding it out. Another Walls player, 3 Izzet Terrors. Nothing too crazy to check out, apparently, else. So moving on to the next day, on the 17th. Albert Tor on Walls. Nice. Bob the Cat with the double trophy on Dimir Fairies. We have 4 Dimir Fairy on that day, so that was the most highly represented deck. Then we have Glitter's Affinity. One that was really cool is the Real July is here playing Esper Affinity. So they're on Blue-White Affinity, but they're also playing the Blood Fountain. And this is one of the very first lists, basically, that ever came out. But, well, similar to the first list that Mogged had come up with. So they're splashing for Blood Fountain and for Cast Down in the sideboard. It gives you a little bit more redundancy, and it looks like they're on just big creature stuff. Wow. So they've got Ardent Recruit as a 3/3, Auriok Sunchaser as a 3/3, Frogmite, Mirror Enforcer as free spells, and then 4 of Gearseeker Serpent. And a Wedding Invitation here. Huh. That's definitely a neat list. Pretty cool right there. My other note was that, so we've got Walls, 2 Golgari Gardens, Wind Up Emma showing up here with a slightly different list. It's hard for me to describe exactly what's going on here, but they're playing Persistent Specimen, a smaller number of Avenging Hunter and Thorn, 4 of Crypt Rats, around 4 Wellspring, 1 Lembas, 2 Campfires here. but the persistent specimen definitely stands out. And then we have a Flickertron who has not been showing up very well, but Raptor56 hops back into a league for a 5-0 on Flickertron. One of the things that I thought was really sweet about this list is that he's on 22 lands, which makes it very difficult to get mana screwed. You got your Tron lands, you got 2 Thornwood Falls and Islands, and then 4 of Seagate with another 1 Rimewood Falls only to search up. He's got 3 Lorien Revealed. So I feel like this is going to make the mana really good. And he's playing 0 maps with 3 crop rotations, with 6 artifacts for the Energy Refractor and Network Terminal. That's definitely a list that I'd like to try out. On the 18th, 17 decks. Most highly represented was mono red yet again. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the crazy thing here that we see mono red, burn, mono red affinity. Kid Renan is playing a crazy list with Namesticker Goblin, Goblin Bushwhacker, Frogmite Mirror Enforcer, and it's an affinity deck. Just so that you have free giant creatures, 4 Galvanic Blast, 4 Koldotha, 4 Demand Answers, 4 Reckless Impulse, 4 Chromatic Star, 3 Synthesizers, and 2 Seal of Fires. I think this list looks like it might still be in, well, I guess it's 4 Gal Blast and 2 Seal of Fire for the removal spells. 19 lands, pretty much all artifact lands. Definitely a powerful deck. I think that's a really sick deck to potentially try out for a video as well. We've got 2 blue, 2 Dimir Fae, 2 Glitter Affinity, 2 Walls. Apis with another trophy here. Albertor trophying. 1 Golgari Gardens. This was Emma again. Impressive. And Borosynth as a 2 of, both on Demand Answers. Golgari Dredge showed up again from Brew Station. They're playing the Ray of Revelation in the sideboard. Got a Dimir Control and a Black Burn. Cool to see Black Burn making some waves. And then on Friday, not Friday, on the last day of our league, we've got 17 decks. We've got Izzet Terror as the most represented deck with 4 pilots. Mono red with 3. And then moving down the line, we've got Blue Fae, Dimir Fae, Glitter Affinity, just a Blue Affinity, Ornithopters and regular stuff. 1 Golgari Gardens, which again was Emma. So 3 trophies in a row. 1 trophy each day from Emma, which is cool. Golgari Dredge from Proboscis. And he was playing actually only 12 lands, which is really kind of wild, with 4 Exhumes, 4 Knot of the Bone, just 4 everything. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, all the way down the line. Sprint only with the lands. On Coffin Purge, Ancient Grudge, Flaring Pain, Moment's Peace, and 4 Drown in Sorrow. Gotta get in touch with this guy and find out how to sideboard with this deck and how to open some good lands, or good opening hands. But he was saying that this deck is definitely slept on, so seems pretty sick. Lots of cool decks to try out this week. We've got a Boros Gates from Sculpture again, Black Burn again, White Weenie from J-Waves holding down the fort for the White Weenie players. Pretty standard list, it looks like. He's got the Recommission from Prismatic Strands. And then a Boros Bully showed up. And we have 2 super spicy decks. One we saw before from Simarisu, which is who's on their red-green turbo initiative. Very, very strong. They're on 4 Lightning Bolt, 2 Abrade with 17 lands. Cool. It's like mono red plus green. So they're on Bushwhacker, Burning Tree, Namesticker Goblin, Semi-Spirit Guide, 4 Commodore, 4 Avenging Hunter, 4 Trailblazer's Torch, and 1 Staunch Throne Guard. Sideboard is Gorilla Shaman, Pyro, so 6 Pyroblast, 2 more Abrades, Flaring Pain, and then 4 Breath Weapon, seeming to clear up the board against red probably. And then the spiciest list of the week goes to RZ Woxy with Bant Control. This is a deck that they've played in the past, which is essentially just Bant Ramp with Arboreal Grazer and Coiling Oracle to ramp. And they're playing Goliath Paladin, Avenging Hunter as the end of the game kill you with my emblems. They're playing like Counterspell, Ephemerate, Ponder, Brainstorm. One Temporal Spring here to lock out the opponent. It is definitely a sweet deck. Kind of maybe a little bit clunky, but once it gets going, it's crazy good. So that is the trophies this week. We can once again go ahead and pick out the meta here. Mono red. 25% of the people that have trophied have been playing mono red. The deck is super strong. If you haven't seen it, check out Pondering Pauper. I had a really sweet discussion with Selkis about mono red. And then we've got Is It Terror, Blue Fae, Glitter's Affinity. These decks are all very strong, and the rest are kind of just picking up the pieces here. Be interesting to see if this mono red continues, because that's not exactly what we saw last week. And appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully you enjoyed Trophy Tuesdays, and we'll see you in the next video.